Setting you up for YouTube Live. Done. Redirecting to YouTube. Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. Thank you so much for joining us in today's live broadcast. Though you don't see her on the screen at the moment, Layla is here. You'll see her camera come on in a minute, and you can interact with her in that way in a little bit. But that's, mommy duty happens. And so we're going to just go ahead and I also want to introduce the other people, everybody here. Welcome. Thank you all so much for coming. We have Varleigh. She's returned for another round. So is Joshua. So welcome, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming. How are you?
I am so good. I'll go first. Layla Wind here. I am very well. I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling excited for this collective new year. Although we do know the new year starts in the spring, but there is this sense of excitement of a final clearing, not really holding on to the past. Like I feel like it's really, really done for a lot of us who've been doing a lot of work. But yeah, I'm feeling great. How's everybody else?
Thank you.
Joshua, go ahead.
Okay. I'm feeling good too. Had a nice Christmas and feeling in high spirits. So
Hey.
glad to be back on. And it's a good topic too. Like any chance to talk about magic is a good opportunity, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
I'm
Yes.
excited about today's topic too. Thank you. And Varleigh?
I'm here because of you, Mila. I saw an invite pop up and I'm like, I got to be honest. I woke up and I'm like, I am not feeling it to bring anything today. But I'm like, no, we're going to turn it around. They're beautiful friends here. And if I get an invitation, I'm coming, unless, there's
Us.
something catastrophic. So thank you. All is well, though. I'm just making the point that there's some mornings where we gotta, you know, it's like the train takes a little time for the momentum to pick up. There are days we wake up and be like, "Hey, sun is shining, birds are singing, everything's great,"
Right.
and whatever it is, it's good, right? So here, happy to be here, and hoping everyone else out there here and beyond is having a beautiful right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a really good thing to bring up. I'm glad when people mention these topics because, like I think that there's a real confusion that I mean I had it too anyway. So just that, when you go through the awakening, it's gonna be like, rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and happy and joyous. And it's like every day is like the first day of spring, but it's not. It's not,
no.
you throw out your voice box screaming in agony sometimes. Like it sucks sometimes, it's hard, but
Yeah.
it's that we're still doing it each day, is that we know that we see the improvement, that we're evolving, and it's becoming easier and easier the more that we do, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the rainbows and butterflies come. It just, we have to do the shadow work. Can't skip steps.
Yeah.
I want to
True.
just bring something up real quick because when you said the topic might be magical, the manifestation, and since you have the Norse mythology connection, normally I don't do this, but I have this deck. It's a beautiful deck if people don't know it. I guess it's backwards, but it's the Magical Nordic Tarot. It's really beautifully done.
Pretty.
And I was just called to bring up, since you were talking about it, the card is the Magician. But there's another card in
Mhm.
here, Knight of Cups, since we're talking about sunshine and rainbows. And this little guy is in his little Eskimo getup, and he's got a rainbow, even though it's the Arctic, and the water's frozen. So the fish are there, but the water is frozen. But anyway, just the imagery and everything, it's just that kind of that moment where we know we have everything within. And there are times where just bring the magic right away, the rainbows are there. But there are times where we really got to go deep, like that ice is, thick, that we got to go introspective and contemplate and have that time. And then, hey, the spring comes, the water will thaw, you can get your fish.
Yeah. In fact, that's actually one of the main things on the Ascension symptom list right now is this deep cellular fatigue, just profound. And that's what this window of time is designed for. It's
Hmm.
this, whether you're in the southern or the northern hemisphere, I'm finding, is that it's this quieting. It's like this slowing down a little bit, you know, and trying to behave opposed to that is sometimes out of alignment. I'm just going to quickly make it I know that there's people in the audience watching the show. Welcome. Looking for a Zoom link. This is people, the people who are on the show today. We're a group of us that were in our regular Zoom meeting that we do every Wednesday, and all wanted to join this call today. So in the future, if you want to join a group like this, please let me know. And like send me a message on Telegram or in email. I won't respond typically in Facebook. I'll let you, I'll give you the link and have you join. So, and as you said, thank you for bringing it up. Today's topic, though we will probably, you know, wander around a little bit in a lot of other things too. But today's topic I really would like to approach, and this was based on a massive download that I got in the shower, is gratitude slash appreciation. Because first of all, those two things are different, right? Like the frequency is different. They mean the same thing. But if they mean the same thing, then why is the frequency different? Whereas if we appreciate somebody, then we're saying it's a shared, it's Reiki, where this is my take on it. And then gratitude is like you're indebted somehow. It's like you lower yourself. You're like, oh, you know, like, and we don't need to say that's bad to do that. I'm just learning more and more based on something that someone else showed me about this, to kind of consider the appreciation energy and to not feel like just, you know, people sharing in a community way is a beautiful thing, though. It's not meant to have something owed. Right. And then the further part of this is the and manifestation slash magic in the world today, you know, because, and I'll jump down a rabbit hole about this in a little bit. I'll give you all the chance to share, is that, you know, the change in how to use manifestation, how and why it's so much more where manifestation or thought is actually action now. The way we are able to manifest is changed in a rapid way. And so if that's true, let's learn to think responsibly, right? And learn how to use those energies as they come in, choosing the reality you wish to be a part of, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to say really quick, I love that you were talking about the manifestation because I just learned, or not even so much learned something new, but I got expanded in my consciousness today in terms of like how we've been manifesting. Like a lot of us been manifesting from a wounded place. And of course, that's where it starts. A lot of times for example, like the example that came through was somebody who needs like $5,000, but they got in a car accident and you know that car accident gave them $5,000, but they still had to go through some type of suffering or pain
Right.
in order to get that manifestation. We're now like tuning in to our cosmic manifestation, our expanded manifestation, in terms of like our higher selves, connecting to the oversoul, where we don't have to go through suffering in order to get what we want. And I also want to say this, when it comes to abundance and manifestation, you know, we're not really so much creating abundance. It's already here. What we need to stop doing is creating fear and the suffering and the limitations beyond it. What I found is that as I'm just naturally in the flow of things from my heart and I'm very present, abundance just comes because what's meant for you is meant for you. I don't necessarily even have to create it. We can have desires and we can have images and all of that's beautiful, but abundance is already here. It's our natural state. It's our birthright. So what
Right.
we really got to stop doing is creating the limitations around abundance because it's already here. That's been a big trick of this, you know, false matrix is that we're creating abundance, but it's already here.
Right.
But we can hone in on it through our desires. So that's what I want to say about manifestation, and I'll let it unfold as the conversation goes.
Awesome.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was just
Josh
gonna say, I have a magical story that ties into what Layla just said about abundance
Oh, awesome.
and a conversation I had just with somebody else right before coming on here. It's a lot of times for me in my experience, I'm just sharing my experiences, when we remember, like before you go into a store, just having the intention that when I come in, I just have a good feeling and everything opens up before me and whatever, versus just going about my day, the doors open, you go in. It's a very different experience. So I played with this a little bit a few weeks ago. I was rushing to get somewhere. It had to do with an actual bank, okay? And I was going, and along the way, it just welled up in me like, you know what? I wish everybody well. It's going to be a good day no matter what. And I normally don't do this, but I'm like, I just love everyone in the whole world. I wish everybody whatever they need. I don't know what happened. I wish everybody abundance in whatever form that is. I was just wishing everybody loved driving a car, okay? I did have two destinations. One was a bank. Something had to be done in a very unusual way. I needed to give somebody cash for a service that I was very appreciative of. And so, but I needed specific cash amounts, right? Which normally isn't normal. So, but I was just wishing everyone abundance, whatever. So what happens? I park the car at the bank. I look down. This never happens. Somebody's bank card is sitting there, like their cash debit card. I'm like, that's weird. I've never seen a dropped one in the parking lot. And it really stood out to me. So of course I picked it up and brought it in. I didn't use it, people. I brought it in, but it was just funny because that was like a little breadcrumb already setting up for abundance. Like you're saying, it's almost like money falling out of the sky, right? The imagery. Even though that wasn't my card, not my name on it. So then I, of course, bring it into the person. I say, hey, somebody, lost this out in the parking lot, right? So again, my mission was I only had a few minutes. I needed cash, whatever. So I go in, which I don't normally need, right? So I go in, it was for the specific service. So these people are talking, and I said, oh, by the way, she over there has this card that's going to go to whoever, the name on it, the woman dropped it, right? They're like, oh, okay, whatever. They're finishing up whatever they're doing at the window. And then they go, oh yeah, we'll be right with you. We know you need the cash. And then they go on, and I'm like, that's weird. I didn't say I needed cash. I never get cash. Like it was just so strange. It was like God speaking through them that we know you need the cash, whatever. So it's just funny because the whole day started out wishing love. And then everything, boom, 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 was just showing me examples of abundance to the point where people who I didn't even say need cash, I could have gone in for any kind of transaction. They're like, yeah, yeah, we know, we'll be right with you. And then the rest of the day lined up and flowed like that too. It was absolutely the word, no other word for it, magical in the most beautiful, pure sense. So anyway, sorry, it was a little long-winded, but tied in with the, abundance literally on the parking lot floor. And, how many of us in our lowest where there's no coins in the bank whatsoever, but we know we're going to get through somehow. That's when you find a $20 bill in the US in the parking lot randomly. Or, oh, I don't have dinner. How's that going to happen? And someone just shows up with, something at your door kind of thing. These things happen. If you
Yeah.
truly know it in your heart, you're going to be okay. And it's not dependent on something that's green or colorful, depending what country you're in, and on a piece of paper, right? All right, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's really just a means to an end, the money,
Mhm.
and the form it takes too, the imagery that came to mind is kind of like when Moses was leading the Israelites to the promised land and the Red Sea was parted. It's kind of like yeah, it's kind of like that, like you feel like you're at the end of what you can do, or you don't really know how the future is going to like come to you, how things are going to come to you, and yet um, something just works out. It's like because you realize that the whole reality is being informed from a deeper place inside of you, and that deeper place like resonates with that cosmic kind of reality. It's never just like what we think it is on the surface. And that's really um, you know, the essence of magic too is that kind of opening up to that and surrendering. Um, yeah, Layla was saying how the kind of like you have to go through some hard kind of like you have to go through like pain sometimes. And when you go through that so that you can like develop that trust in things.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we wouldn't we just wouldn't see it sometimes if it weren't for that. And I think, when we are in harmony with the trust of the universe, like the universe is of course, is always abundant and it's always providing for itself, and everything is really geared at its essence to take care of everything else. Like everything is there to support everything else. And I feel like the only thing that really, like, if we have any hang-ups about that, it's really not that's not a quality of the universe so much as it is a quality of our own thinking or just our own conditioning, you know. So um, really, I think that's really just, you know, all these things we have to go through, especially in ascension processes and stuff like that, is really just bringing us to that point where we can let that flow come through us more unimpeded because it's always trying to anyway. So just have to, that's really what healing is anyway, I think. It's not so much that we're broken or sick or need to be fixed or anything, but just that we just need to let some resistances go. Then we'll see that we're already well and, you know, we already have so much abundance. And so, yeah, yeah. And it goes back to
Absolutely.
gratitude. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And learning that the density that we put on anything that we're choosing, and we don't realize where that there's density there. A lot of times it's just the language that we have been indoctrinated in through growing up, the people we spent time with, our neighbors, whoever. But it came from somewhere, and now we're learning how not to do it. We're learning how to rewrite our verbal pathways, basically, right?
Mm.
And choosing instead a different frequency. One of the things that I've learned like earlier on was how, well, first of all, how many people speak in their home about like not having hold on uh, uh not having the ability to afford something.
Right.
Um, and using those words, it's really I was trying to avoid that topic and multitask for just a second there. Anyway, and also when that happens, when you're living with somebody, that's a natural thing is to discuss the finances. I know that. And then to use certain words though, it's choosing that frequency, it's choosing that way. And so, you know, that actually jumps down the rabbit hole the download that I got. And I'm just going to briefly say and then give it to Layla. So we established it's me, Layla, Varleigh, Josh, and then back around again. That way everybody have a chance to talk. Um, is that, you know, the download that I got had to do with the reason for the depression existing, where, how and when it was intentionally was in order to introduce lack, belief in lack. Before, you couldn't get people to stop manifesting abundance. And it became more limited too regarding money, right? When before these things were just a given, your basic needs were always met. Like it's a joke to have to pay to live on the planet you were born on, you know? So anyway, this download was like really groundbreaking for me, and to realize that that was how that it was made possible to get people to stop manifesting the true joy of everything, right? So, Layla, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I'm actually going to turn it over to Varley really quick. I'm going to calm my son down. He's
All
having
right,
a moment. He's having
all
a
right.
moment. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun that you bring that up, Mila, because when you think about it, I'm going to bring up the the thing that says like a sore spot I know for you and me is the game Monopoly.
Yeah,
And that used to be my least favorite as a kid. I know we've talked about it before. I hated that game as a
yeah,
little one. And but I mean, I liked the fun of it. We're talking about magic and manifestation too. I liked the color of the money. Okay. I loved that there were all different colored papers. You know, I thought that was cool. But beyond that, it's like, why does someone have to go to jail? You know, what is all of this paying stuff? You know, as a little one coming in fresh, you know, it never made sense to me. But I'm just bringing it up because back to what Josh said too, it's not the paper or the thing of itself, you know, it's the value we give it. And what you're saying, Mila, has been on my mind very strong the last few weeks. It's like if we just went about our day and went by feel and woke up whenever we wanted, and some people can do this and it's beautiful. You're understanding the magic of getting out of the matrix. So if you just listen to your own internal clock, get up about your day, what's the difference now, whether it's cash in your hand or a plastic card? If I just went to a store and got a loaf of bread without flashing anything, without waving a card, just said, oh, thanks for the bread, and went about my day. And we've talked about this before. If each of us contributed 4 hours to a day out of the week doing some job, wouldn't matter, it could change or whatever. Without this money system, we'd all be fine. Like we're just going through the motion of handing a card anyway, right now, if you really think about it. When somebody else controls whether they wipe out all the zeros or add zeros on some kind of magical, right, in the ethers, digital device, are we really talking about money? I'd say no. Am I giving you my plastic card and you're giving me another card? And even if we did, does that matter? At a certain point, it is only the value we assign to it. And I think that's what we're coming back into, where we're getting it, that it never was about some supposed gold locked up in a storage house somewhere. And that's what we're basing money on, which is not there anyway, by the way. So what are we really doing? And that's the beautiful magic of waking back up to, it is a joke. We were shown it as kids. It's a game. The money is a game. We were shown that with Monopoly. And
Yeah,
now it's remembering all what that means.
the feel bad game. Josh, would you like to share?
Oh, my turn. Okay.
If you
Oh
want.
yeah. Well, yeah, I think like it's funny too with the gold because gold was why did gold have value at all to begin with? And that a lot of that goes back to the days of like the alchemists. They're always trying to turn everything into gold. And so even from like the point of view of like the financial system and stuff like that, it was almost like even the gold was speculative. The way that it was controlled and the way it was used, it seems like it's just one of those things where um, it's almost like a living metaphor for controlling the magic.
Mm,
Like the people who have the most gold have the most magic or something, which isn't true, of course, but that's kind of how they were trying to present it so that, we could, um, I guess, kind of fall asleep and just forget like all the things that we're learning now about ourselves and about the world. And, um, like that's kind of the whole thing is that there's this big misconception that there are like certain aspects of life that are non-magical and I guess we use the word mundane. Of course, some things are, I don't know, not as stimulating or as interesting as other things, but everything really is magical. And I think like the whole misconception that really gets kind of thrown around in the mainstream circles and stuff like that is that, you have to buy your way into a enlightened life. And there's always making
right.
associations between like cologne and freedom and like,
Right.
just like random things that
Mhm.
they don't correspond really,
If
but
you
they're
have this,
using,
sweetie.
yeah,
Right.
just have this, and you'll be okay. So it basically it's all thriving on the idea that you don't already have like this connection to magic. And you don't have this connection to like what's really worth having in life. And of course, it's why they don't want you to find out your natural abundance because it's when you do look into yourself and you realize that there's a peace and there's a vibrancy, there's a magic, there's a harmony just like in you being inside of your experience. For one thing, being by yourself is not always encouraged, but it's one of those beautiful times where you can see what is true about yourself and what is true about the world as well. Um, because when you spend that time by yourself, a lot of misconceptions about your place in life and what is real and what isn't, just fall away. And so, where was I going with that? I was gonna loop that back around, but pretty much that's kind of the whole thing. Like everything is magical. Like everything is coming out of what we call no thing or whatever.
Right.
It's just a word. And that's kind of what magic is anyway. They're always like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, just like where does the rabbit come from? He wasn't in the hat, he came out of the ether. And so like our whole lives are coming out of the hat in a way. They're
Yeah.
coming out of the ether.
That's
And so when we look at things, we realize that, this idea of magic being kind of like the idea of like spirit is only in certain places, or magic is only in certain places, or God is only in certain places, and then everything else is just excess or something else. But, it really is all that same vibrancy. It is all that same presence, that same um, potential. And any one of us can tap into that at any time. And I mean, that is what manifestation is, I think. It's really tapping into that, what we realize is to be here already, and just kind of, just removing those limitations and softening those kind of ideas that, I don't know, that you're not worthy or you're not capable of receiving it.
yeah. Self-worth. It always comes down to self-worth, it seems like every time it's
Yeah,
around to that.
yeah,
I
for sure.
oh
Oh,
we
oh
you
no,
want
no, I'm just ad-libbing. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that the whole time too. I'll like have like 15 comments and you guys don't have to stop talking because I'm talking. Um, yeah, but you'd mentioned something, and this is really fascinating because the worth of gold and the fact that gold was like, I mean, if you think about like the 49ers and that whole thing about the gold fever and everybody going out west to gold mine and stuff. And like that was 1849. That's why they're called the 49ers, right? Um, anyway, um, is that before that period, before they did that, the trade, this is just a download, a memory of a different lifetime of mine, and in a time that we would call Tartaria. Like, I don't know how I got this, it just appeared, and it's like, wow. But and the fact that fur was what was traded, not gold. Gold was just adorned on buildings and on your body for frequency purposes. It wasn't money at all. It had really, it was worth like cotton that has worth, but not. And then I found this video that appeared on my homepage on YouTube, having from some channel I'd never heard of that they uploaded 12 years ago about this time when they used to stamp the people of Siberia, they called them, and the Romanov people, and all this whole remember the Romanovs? Remember that whole story? They had some kind of weird, never no one knows the real story about that. But anyway, what they did was they would stamp their brand their furs, and the furs were goods. That was money. And you would trade and you'd have your own stamp on it. So people couldn't steal it from you. And it was about furs. And it's not because they were cavemen. Okay. This is the time where I mean, the buildings worked for you. You didn't have to pay for energy, for light. You didn't need fire for light. You could remember those older videos when we were little. Remember they used to show us these black and white photographs of the suspended head, and they called them the spiritualist machines? And the person was talking to them in this mechanism that looked like a cloche, like a serving platter has that. You guys ever see those images? They used to say it was technology that was tricked by because photography was new, so they were able to trick people. But the reports were they were communicating like a telephone, like a Zoom meeting, only there it looked like it was like from here up. The person was just they could look around your house and talk to you, and that people speculated that they were actually it was some type of seance machine, and it was people who had passed. But it was just the freaking person down the road that you were talking on the phone to. Anyway, why did I go like that? I didn't mean to go that circle, but I was meant to talk about gold. So,
Well, that's
anyway,
interesting. I don't know if I can, if it's okay to go.
it's
Um,
up to Layla. See, it's her turn next. So,
is she there? Oh, she's there.
Yep, I'm here, but you can go ahead, Varleigh. No problem.
I was just gonna say, when Josh was bringing up gold, and Pamela, you've got the other nuance of gold. It's in our time looking at winter, and I can't help but bring up, magic, the Magi. What did they bring? We all know the story we're told is the frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Now, you can look at it as the frankincense and the myrrh, they have like antibacterial properties. They have this and this, probably with the actual physical healing, but also the gold. And gold has so many meanings, beyond it's the metal that doesn't corrode or rust. It's the pure form. It's got linkings to the sun, the energies of the sun, the golden, when it was golden anyway. And the whole thing about the gold too in that Christmas story is, bringing it across the desert. We have the metaphor of the desert where you kind of get lost in it, and it's a very reflective, introspective time. And you make it, and gold not only has so many meanings with alchemy, which, they say the true gold isn't the alchemists of yore weren't taking lead or something and making it actual gold. It was the transformative transcendence process of alchemy of souls, pretty much, where you take something in the material world and can bring it to the 5D and alchemize it. And so for me, the gold of the Magi coming across the desert is kind of an honor, an homage to the Christ figure coming in, because I'm going to go galactic, of course. So if you look at the Christ figure, oh, what do you got there? I love it.
piping
You have the
sense and
Christ.
myrrh resin.
Yeah, what is that bird? Is that a crow, or what's on there? What's the symbol? A
Uh,
penguin? What is
it's a
it?
meadowlark.
Oh, I've not seen one of those. Cool.
Yeah.
So, and that ties into the whole thing too, but I'll go there later. But anyway, so if you look at the Christ figure, and this is an open mind channel, right? Like we have open minds here. We're entertaining all kinds of stuff, all kinds of nuances and angles to things. So if the Christ figure was coming down, as we all do, as a God spark, somehow we make it into these bodies from somewhere else. Even the sonograms show a flashing thing of light when the soul, the heart starts beating, the soul's in there. But anyway, if Christ comes down into the quote unquote manger, and these magi are coming across with these gifts, they could bring anything. Why are we told these three specific gifts? Well, they each have their own magical properties, those herbs, beyond just what we're saying if they're antibacterial or whatever. But also the gold, it's the symbolism not only of the pure soul, it's symbol of so many things, but it's also a nuts and bolts type of thing, honoring how it's said that we can transcend, like our heart is a stargate. Like at any time we can transport, to a different dimension. So I don't know, I'm going about a roundabout way, but it just hit me, the magi, the magic, the gold came up, and there's so much more here, but I'll leave it at that. I was going somewhere with it, but it doesn't matter. Let's go. Layla, hit it.
Well, you already hit it for me. Excellent, excellent. Good job. Yeah, so the aura also comes up when you look at gold because of the AU, which is what is it called? Nomenclature, right? Of the gold. So your aura, and it very much ties into what Varleigh said about the purity, because whenever I think about gold, because it doesn't rust, in its very purest form, that purity is very much what's going to anchor us into the golden age. And this is all tied into the manifestations as well, is that all we need to do is purify our vessels, come back to love, have no agenda, like the purity of a baby, right? And that is what's going to magnetize all of the so-called gold, the wealth, right? It's interesting that they associate gold with wealth. It's really because of the metaphysical nature of gold and, and what it symbolizes. Going back to what Varleigh said wonderfully, the purity. That is what really sticks out to me when it comes to gold. And of course, our auric field, our biomagnetic field, it's literally like a magnet. It's what shines out and also what brings in. And so all we have to do is purify ourselves. Mind, body, what we're putting in our body, what we're putting in of our minds. Yes, AU, come on now. Gold, yes.
That's the
What is
shape of it too.
That's the shape
79.
of it. Oh, okay.
And that's the
Love it.
symbol on the periodic table.
Wow.
So it's and AU is also Australia. I just keep going. I'm just
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I had to tune into what you were saying to look at your beautiful drawing there to tie it all in. But yes, golden age frequency for sure. And it's funny because you and Varleigh inspired me to change my background, and I have like the golden sun, like
look at that
Ariel. So
girl.
I was gonna say, I love your
yes,
background.
yeah, thank you.
Hey, and it's AU, not AI, guys.
That
Right.
AU,
hello, yes.
fake word.
But
Right. Talk about yes, because we are the organic intelligence, right? There's artificial intelligence, which is the mimicry, but always remember that you're pure. Nothing can when they say AI is going to replace us, that is a whole bunch of nonsense. They
right.
could never replace what's organic. You know, that's part of the matrix programming as well. Maybe on a certain timeline, if people are feeding into that frequency, yes, but on our timeline of love and light, absolutely not. Nothing beats the organic intelligence. So yes, gold. I mean, there's a reason why that's coming up, and it's tied into everything: the gratitude, the appreciation. Yeah. What did you have to say about that, Mel? I wanted to hear more about the breakdown of the gratitude because
Am I is
that
it
was interesting to me. What you were talking about. Can you hear me?
yeah, you just I think I wasn't sure if it was my internet or yours.
Uh-oh.
You were
What
breaking.
happened?
Layla, you glitched up on us.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, she
okay.
was glitching out.
Okay.
Okay. Am I good now?
I heard you though. I heard everything you said. I just wanted to be sure before I started talking that people weren't gonna miss. But
Yeah.
uh
Okay.
yeah, in fact, so as we begin to manifest what or let me change that to say this is that the reason that manifestation is becoming so immediate now is that we're dropping the masks,
Yep.
the mirror bearers, the watchers of 200, this whole kachina, the everything that's it's happening now. That's why we had so much life review this year. Just kept coming up like
Mm,
crazy stuff from when you were 7 and when you were in 7th grade and like all these different weird things and like it's been to heal, to release and to let those things go. It was 77 degrees a moment ago until it just changed it to um and is that uh as we drop these facades, these limiting beliefs that have held us very much in our solar plexus, which we've been talking about, we're moving not only into the heart but also into the throat chakra, right? Which there's always traces of gold in there, by the way. It's really fascinating. They look like tinsel, almost made of light, but gold. It's
Mm.
strewn through all of your bodies, everything. This gold light is really pretty. Um, it's 555 right now. And uh, so as these false things that have been keeping our solar plexus, the golden chakra, our Christos, it's been keeping the Christos like from being able to flow properly regarding all these labels and identities and these limiting beliefs about self, this like diagnosis after diagnosis. Like, I mean, the era of time that I've been on this planet, the a number of acronyms that are associated with a person's name these days is ridiculous. All this behavior, this and mental that, and blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody's got something going on. I remember when my little sister was in school, and everybody was like, "Hey, what kind of behavior meds you got today?" And like they just switching with each other. Like that was a thing. And now we're leaving all that behind. And as we're doing that, what's happening is we're realizing we've always had the potential there to manifest right now. We drop all these false labels and these false identities, and then suddenly life isn't hard anymore. Everything becomes effortless. And when you're in an effortless place, there's no law, and you're not operating in all these false identities. You're not giving the universe like broken messages, conflicting messages. When you ask or decide something, it becomes, rather than being like, oh, like, because we have all this low self-worth stuff that's associated with all these labels and false identities. So now we find ourselves in a place of appreciation for the little minimal, tiny little things. And then we realize that our gratitude that's overwhelming us, the appreciation that's overwhelming us, is causing whatever we want, whatever you want. And that's including luxurious things, not just barely what you need to make it.
Yep.
We're not talking about money either. We're talking about the concept of what it feels like to create the utopia that you're already in, right? Time to break those dams, like you're the beaver, right? Time to break those dams and let that flow. And when that flow occurs, you can see that it's all already coming to you. You just been getting in the way this whole freaking time.
Yep.
Yep.
When I use the word grateful, I use it in terms of I'm full of greatness.
I like
You're
it.
full of greatness. Yes. That's how I like to switch it up. And I like that you're using the word appreciation as more of like a more evolved form of gratitude. Because when I'm thinking about appreciating something, appreciating it increases and enhances, it expands
Right.
rather than depreciation. So it's like more of all the good stuff, right? More of all the fun, more of all the love. Because, and I love that you also said the luxury too, because a lot of us in the spiritual community, we kind of shy away from it as in terms of spirituality, but are in terms of being superficial, we think it's not spiritual.
Right.
But if we look at it in terms of like the divine wants you to have the best of everything, and whatever that means for you.
Yeah.
So we got to stop limiting ourselves because it's not for so-called luxury is not just for a certain group of people, it's for everyone to experience. Who wants to experience it? Who can drop those limitations and say, I deserve. And I'm doing, and I love that you also, Mela, used the word decide because that is a higher form of choosing as well. Because there's one
Yeah.
thing to choose, but then there's another thing to decide. You have to decide that you are worthy. Like,
Right.
and you're already that. But the decision is just remembering.
Yeah.
Once you decide, like, I am important, I'm deciding that I am going to have a great life. Watch the the universe, the domino effect from all of that. And it doesn't mean you won't go through trials and tribulations. Excuse me. I almost lost my voice there for a moment. But those trials and tribulations usually are just the ego's tricks coming up. Also, the programming that we have,
Mhm.
also the implants that we have, and the tethers that we have that we need to release. That's usually when that comes up, is because we need to face it. You can't spiritually bypass any of that. Even
Yeah.
if you are choosing and deciding on love and light, recognize that whatever comes our way, even the so-called bad times or dark times, that's the love of the universe as well.
Yeah.
That is part of the love of the universe. So I've learned to just accept it, and I'm like, give it to me. I'm like, I'm excited to be triggered nowadays. Like, trigger me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause like I'm ready, because that's gonna shoot me up into
Yeah.
excitement. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. So thank you, Mela, for mentioning the appreciation.
Thank you. Triggers activation, right?
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's an opportunity,
Right.
not an obstacle.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to say we are the OG. Mila's talking about labels and acronyms. What do they say? OG is original these days. That's what it stands for. So we are the OG
Mm,
gold. We're the original gold.
yeah.
And for me, the alchemy is simply, I've said it before, I know others have too. To me, the alchemy is no matter what's going down, it could be the worst thing ever, but in the moment, you just say in your mind or out loud, no, take a pause. It's happening for me, not to me. That's instant alchemy right there. I have been playing with that for the last 10 years. It doesn't fail every single time. It could be the worst, lion roaring in your face. Look at it and go, no, it's happening for me, not to me, from a very neutral place. First I'll let out the bad word, like if something, you're in it, like the flat tire and you're in the middle of a lot of high-speed traffic has happened. Yes, I have done it. And I go, no, it's happening for me, not to me. Instantly, not one, but two tow trucks pull up each side. It's almost like they manifested out of thin air. They weren't behind me. They weren't anywhere. I look up and someone's knocking on my window. True story. They
Cool.
manifest purely out of thin air. That is the magic. That is our capability. We are the OG gold. We're it. We're the purity. We're the pure gold and liquid and material motion, as we are, exactly as we are. We just have to remember that and not freak out or have a freak out, but then go, no, it's happening for me, not to me. And if you want to add it, and all is well. And it is.
Yeah.
And I've done this so many countless times. This isn't a pipe dream. I'm not throwing, blowing smoke up anybody's, you know what. Oh, and I'll just say one joke. This is kind of unrelated, but then I'll pass it on. It's a funny joke, and whether anybody's like into Bible stories and whatever. This is coming from an aunt of mine who is deep into the Bible, volunteered at church, beautiful soul. But there's a funny little joke. It's like not taking the Bible, taking it, whatever resonates with you, but also understanding and appreciating the joke and some things. So the little joke goes like this, if I get it right. Um, you know, it was a little kid reading the Bible and kind of had a question like, well, if Jesus tied his ass up to a tree and walked to town, how did that work? Because, the biblical, someone's always riding a donkey or an ass. So if you imagine tying your ass up to the tree and walking into town, they were like, how did Jesus do that? If your ass is tied to the tree. Anyway, I think Josh gets it.
Someone got
And he's
it.
okay. So if you tie your ass to the tree, how are you walking anywhere? But Jesus did. He tied his
Oh
ass to the
yeah, I
tree
get
and
it. I
walked
get it
into
now.
town. Okay, sorry. It
Uh,
maybe was the wrong moment. But that's magic, right? We can do anything. It's just a little point. Sorry. It was the wrong vibration for it.
it's
No,
all
the
good.
sorry,
Some
not
people are,
sorry, not sorry. Trust me,
I
we all
explained it.
got
I
it. It's
explained it
okay.
wrong. Yeah, not sorry. No, pardon. I didn't, the
Yes.
delivery was off. I admit it. Okay. But point made.
No, you
I
did
don't
good. You
usually
did
get
good.
it.
You did good.
I usually just don't get set up jokes. So that's like I feel the frequency behind it, and so I
Yeah,
miss it. I miss
exactly.
Yeah,
it's
you're
got
going,
nothing to do
you're
with you.
seeing beyond the joke.
Mela, should I bring up the alchemy? What we were talking
Yeah,
about earlier?
dude. Unless Josh has something he
Yes.
wanted to, did you want to have a chance to add something, Josh?
Yeah.
Well, I was like what you were saying, Varley, about the like we are the gold, and something I was thinking about, like that saying, "Heart of gold." That's like been, I think there's like an esoteric connection there. So that's I just wanted to say that. Really.
Absolutely.
Wizard of
And
Oz. And that's how the show
yeah.
started. Layla was like the Oz, because for those in YouTube land, it was just a voice. There was no, it doesn't even say like her, we saw in Zoom meeting, we saw it say Layla, but they didn't see it. It's like, and so it goes back to the heart, going to Oz to get the heart. Anyway, you brought up the golden heart, and
Yeah. I remember Dorothy had it in her all along.
yeah,
She didn't have to look outside of herself. That's the whole story of that, right?
right.
She already had it within her to get home, so to speak. Home is where the heart is. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Home is where the heart is.
That's
Yeah.
also
But
good.
yes, the alchemy. Yes, that alchemy. What we were talking about earlier, Mela, and also a beautiful audience, was that the word alchemy comes from the Kemetic word. Kemet used to be the real word of Egypt before it was colonized by Egyptos. But Kemet means the black land. It means the darkness. It means the blackness. So the most powerful way to alchemize and to tap into your alchemy is to surrender to the darkness. The darkness is not inherently evil, too. I want to say that because a lot of
Right.
times we use the word darkness interchangeably with negativity or evil. What we're talking about when we say go into the darkness is not that the darkness is evil, it's what you're feeling that sends you into the darkness, so that it's like a chamber for transformation.
Right.
And so the more that we surrender to the so-called darkness, remember, darkness is not evil. We come from the womb. That's the darkness. When we close our eyes and meditate, that's the darkness. The darkness is the most powerful, transformative, like hub, if you will, of transformation. So
Yeah.
it's really, really powerful. So that true alchemy, and that's why people have, when they say turn, you turn lemons into lemonade. I don't know
Yeah.
why that's supposed to be like a negative saying because lemons are delicious. But, it's you're turning what you feel is negative or what you deem as, unfavorable in your life or low vibrational. And that is the most beautiful way you can see how divine you are. You can tap into your divinity. And also to see how supported you are as well. And to return to love through that purification. I love what you always say, Mela, purification through the fire, because
Yeah,
that's what I look at it as, truly. It's like that has the medicine as well. So, yeah, welcome the darkness, immerse yourself in the darkness. If you're going through a seasonal depression or any form of depression, immerse yourself in it. Get your deep rest, depression, deep rest, surrender, allow. And trust me, you will get clarity from that and all will transform from that. It's really beautiful and
yeah.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
For me, if I can just bring up, unless you had something, Mila, for me, the darkness, it is that introspection coming down to a stillness, kind of like we talk about the solstice. We're suspending the sun just for a minute. It didn't go away, but we need the darkness for a little bit of contrast so we know how beautiful the sun is as well. But for me, it's coming into that exact, it's void, not in a negative connotation. The void is the calm where you
Yeah,
come into, it's black, it may be, there's like nothing, there's not a sound, there's nothing. But for me, that's the 0 point of creation. That's the black chalkboard before anything is written or drawn on it. And it's the infinite moment right before we have infinite creation to create a picture or to create anything. But first it has to, and not has to, but comes down to stillness. Often there'll be artists, they work at canvas. I've observed this in my life. It looks perfect, like it's an amazing picture, but they don't like it. They're the creator. And they go and they mess it all up. And I'm like, what are you doing? That was like, could have been, priceless on somebody's wall. But they're like, no, there's something not right. They mess it up and create again. And it's that reminder of the fluidity of we can create infinite pictures. And sometimes we have to come in and recalibrate because there's
right.
so much noise, there's so much going on in the outer world. We can use gatherings as an example, holiday gatherings. I didn't experience this year. I had a very nice, peaceful one. However, imagine all these people coming in. They have the joke at Thanksgiving, if you don't want to buy gifts, just mention religion or politics, right? So you got all these people, the differing opinions coming around you, and it's just a
Fun
lot of
stuff.
quote unquote noise. There might be love behind it. But you need to maybe go off into a room and just get that calm, like, whoa, that's a lot of energies that aren't mine. I just need
Yeah.
to like come back, have a little self-imposed time out and just whew, recalibrate. And if you want to go further, you dig deeper, get to a blackness, and then go, okay, now we can create. We're at that springing point again, right?
Yeah. And it's all about
That's
creating.
exactly right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, well, I was you what you said, Varley, was exactly what I was thinking when Layla mentioned the darkness. Is like that coming back into stillness. It's like that, like the canvas before the paint is applied. And I can't tell you how many times like um, I'll go into meditation, not even with any like artistic intention in mind, but like at some point, my energy will level out and everything will kind of balance out. And then I'll just get this picture in my mind. It will just be like, this is what you need to do next.
Mhm.
This is what you need to create this. And so I'll go and create it. And like, that's how, like so many of my creations, like artistic creations have come just from that stillness. Um, and not even with any intention involved, like not trying to intend to find it. It's just because, um, like honoring that stillness inside of my own experience is already like I'm already in alignment to even pay attention to that, to even notice that that stillness has value in my life is already an indication that I'm in alignment with the universe because it's exactly like it's that cosmic compulsion that wants you to, it's like honoring your mother in a way.
Right.
It's like the most natural thing. It's, just like the womb of creation, like outer space, the
Yep.
spaciousness, the nether, like that's the infinite void, infinite womb, the infinite vibrancy that underlies all things. And so, just by honoring that, you're not separate from that and you don't need to run from it. And, you know, so 'cause sometimes it's a bit scary for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We want to keep doing and doing and doing and you know but the thing is like when you come back into that stillness, it's just like a flower returning to the earth in autumn or maybe winter time, you know and we sometimes maybe we think like, okay, if I lose the flower or if I lose the like springtime, and it's like it's never going to come back. But
Right.
everything that happens in the autumn and the winter is preparing the soil and the trees, and it's everything that we love about, the activity and the color and the vibrancy of life is right there in that, like that stillness. It's right there in that underlying kind of space. And, this is magic, this is magic in essence, because it's like all right there. Like the whole universe is just like in this little iota of space between your eyes or between your one hand and the other. It's like everything is in that little bit of space because it's like I don't even know. It's like a mystery, like how do you even describe how wonderful and how just it's just
Hmm.
like no words, There's no
Yeah.
words for how beautiful it is. And yet the wordless, the intangible is what's creating all the words, just so it can have an interaction with itself.
Yeah.
And, you know, talk about gratitude. Like I'm just in awe at, it's like just in awe of the things that, back in the day I would think are ordinary or mundane or whatever. I'm just in such awe. Just everything is so wonderful
Hmm.
and
That's
doesn't
beautiful.
necessarily, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's my little bit of poetry, I suppose.
It
And you're
definitely
But
felt like poetry. It definitely felt like it.
yeah, I would say that the times that we get really poetic is that when we're actually channeling too. So that gives validity to what you were saying, you know what I mean?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it is too, like when we think about channels, that's incredibly magical. And that's a theme that, when you look at wizards and you look at shamans and practitioners of the arts, as we call it, the magical arts, they're always making themselves available to a larger presence,
Yeah.
larger constant. And that's always something, because sometimes you like in stories and movies and things, like somebody they'll ask like there'll be a Gandalf kind of figure or like a Merlin kind of figure, and somebody will ask, "How do you do the things you do?" And he's like, he kind of will say something like, "I'm not really the one doing it, like I'm making myself available to this," and then it's kind of like, the sages and the wizards are kind of doing the same thing in a way, like in the witches and the shamans are all doing the same thing because that that willingness to open yourself up to that, like to almost to surrender to this larger thing out of faith and out of trust, then you you don't actually lose control. You don't lose who you are or even your sense of being. It's like you only become more of what you've always been. And there's such great power and control in that. You actually have more control and you have more power because everything you do is informed from this intuitive space. And it's no coincidence that, they say intuition is the voice of God inside. It's like, and it's a quiet voice, it's a small, subtle voice, but it speaks in a way that it's like it's in the trees, it's in the ice, it's in the cosmos, it's in everything. It's so small and easily easily overlooked that it can just be everywhere all at once. It's kind of like the wind itself. It's the ether, again, it's the ether. It's that intuition just rising right out of what we would consider to be no thing or nothing. And you find, it's just like something you were saying the other day, me about, there really is no such thing as emptiness. It seems like it's empty, but it's actually full of life. It's full of
Hmm.
form, it's full of potential, it's full of magic and energy.
Yep.
And, it's unending. That's the fun of it, I think. You get to explore that. Just by existing, you get to explore that. So what more to say at this point? You know?
It's just like taking a drop of seawater and putting it under a microscope. Like people don't see they see water and what's in there. It's not scary. I don't yet, but there's life. There's crystals. There's all kinds of different organisms and that make up water, that make up who we are. We're a community, not rather than an individual. As a being, as a singular being, you're not a singular being at all. And all that place in between, all of it, including ourselves, require the charging station that is the void. We require it. We require moments of fasting for our body to rejuvenate. We require these things. And then we've been taught to assign blame or laziness to these things. There's selfishness involved in taking care of yourself. What?
Mm.
Like how broken of that, and so what a lot of people find themselves doing, similar to what I did, having to uncode that, to pull that off, and to allow yourself the gift of taking care of yourself. You're expected to. All throughout all kinds of religious doctrines, you'll see, in their the different places, they're always talking about the body's a temple, taking care of your body. They're trying to help us. It says 365 times in the Bible, do not fear. And then the pastor, the rabbi, the monk, whoever it is, I don't know about monks. I'm just throwing different words. Bishop, is will teach fear. They'll teach fear. And I'm not telling anybody their religion's wrong. I'm not. I I sampled just about every religion I had in my access over the years for a long time. Not that I was going in there to sample. What's that all about? What's behind those doors? And I found that every spiritual way is like a buffet. I don't go to a buffet and put everything on my plate. Some people do. I don't. I pick,
Right.
right there. I want some of that. I want some of that. Oh no, I'm good. You take what you want and you leave the rest. And when we do that and we edit out the fear, which is what it tells us to do in the Bible, and it's not just the Bible, I'm just pointing that one out because I learned Christianity and fear went together growing up. A good God-fearing person was a good person. Like your job is to fear. Well, when we're vibrating in fear, we're not vibrating in love, then we're not in the golden ratio. Then we're not in the frequency of appreciation and of abundance because they go together. When we appreciate, we receive. And when we appreciate, we just unlock that part in us that has taught us that we're undeserving of the thing, right?
Yeah.
I kind of circled it back around again.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's also that 365-degree energy.
Ooh, hey,
365.
ooh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Circling it around. Yes. I'm glad you circled it around. Because even when we look at the word gratitude or being appreciative or thankful, we have to understand and understand that it's not just saying I'm thankful, I'm thankful. You really have to feel it on a cellular level. You have to live it. Like when you're actually like spirit came to me like about 2 years ago and showed me what real gratitude looks like. And it's celebration. It's celebrating life. It really is honoring. And I'm not saying you have to throw a big party. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to literally, even in the so-called mundane, which we talked about, right? The fun day, make it fun, make it laughable. Even when I'm cleaning, because one of my every single day I do a daily essential, and one of my daily essentials is cleaning. I make it fun. And I even told myself today when I was at my altar and meditating, like when I clean, even though it's the mundane, I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to have fun cleaning. It's that reprogramming. So we're not feeling like, oh, we're going through life, we're doing this stupid human stuff, right? Like, I don't want to do it. We get to make it fun, we get to make it sacred. And also, cleanliness is close, very close to God. Cleanliness is close to sacredness. And
Yeah.
so it's really, really important that we understand that celebration goes very much hand in hand with gratitude. And again, I'm not saying to throw a big party or you have to be out there and wear a big ball gown dress or ballroom dress or any of that. What I'm saying is enjoy life. There's a lot of energy of joy coming in this year. And to really decide. I'm going to actually do a video on that separately. The power of decision, because
Ooh.
decision is precision.
Mm.
That's how you will precisely manifest like all your heart and soul's desires and beyond. Because trust me, our little desires are nothing compared to what God, the divine, has in store for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we'll
I just
never ask God for what we actually need in the beginning. We ask for the wants and we find out that what we need for is given first. That's
That's
not meant
right.
to dissuade you,
That's right.
right? Sorry,
That's
Varleigh. I
right.
saw you
no, it's
starting to
okay.
talk.
I was just gonna say on what Layla's saying, like celebrate, some people think that in the medical world, if you listen through a stethoscope, that the heart sounds like lub dub, but it really is dooch, dooch, dooch. Just kidding. But I wanted to bring up the heart because, again, real quick, because it's something that everybody's touched on. It's, we have expressions like, oh, my heart is so full of love, or my heart is so full of pain, or it feels broken or empty. And and it's amazing how this one thing can be that, or it can be like that. And if you look at the actual organ, it's for what? Empty chambers. So, the atrium and the ventricles. But like you were saying, Mila, there's something that it can be full of everything, but then there's no room for stuff. So it's like the duality. The heart also has to be empty for the blood to flow through and oxygen to come in and go, and it's just, but it does everything. It's not one or the other. We have different times in our life where the heart's going to feel full or it's going to feel empty. And it's just the journey and the embracing of all the experiences of it. But it's just a testament to our golden property where we can heal ourselves or we can bring ourselves down. The power is within us to do any of it. And it's just always seeking, actually, the higher vibration of it all so that we fill our own cup, so to speak, and have so much more to give. But then we've got to empty that out a little so what we can graciously and gratefully or appreciatively receive. And it's just this dance. It's always a dance and a flow, right? Anywho.
Yeah. And it's well choreographed dance. Like it reminds me of synchronized swimming from the 20s. Like those old videos that you see the ladies and their it's really synchronized, and it looks like chaos until you let yourself rise up a high enough vantage point. That's all you got to do. And then you see it's not chaos, but it's perfection. It just looks like a mess when you're in it. Like the molecules that need to move so fast, it looks like there's something wrong with everybody, but you've pulled back and they're creating the chair that you're sitting on. You're
Well,
not
and,
actually
and
sitting on it anyway.
and there's one other quick little tidbit I wanted at the end of that too, because it came up right before I came on here. With the water analogy, it's bringing something in too. We have that people talk about it. You've got the circus, the monkeys running around in your head, or the squirrel running around the tree when you're so inundated and in your head on life, and you're like, oh, I worry and bills and this, and it's all fear up here. And so if someone just said to you, because someone did say this to me and it made it so, this is alchemy, this is magic, is why I'm bringing it up. You can dissolve that if you remember to do it in a second, in a heartbeat, in a breath. Is imagine if it's like a crazy train, if it's a monkey, a squirrel, whatever. Give those swirling thoughts an image, It can be words just floating around, but give it something that you can grab onto. And then just say, no, I'm going to drop it down from my head to my heart. Or think of it as thinking with your heart and not your head. And immediately you dissolve the crazy because the heart heals and nurtures and alchemizes this, which is of the 3D, consumed with the 3D world and whatever safety. It has its purpose. I mean, God bless our brain, our ego, all of these things are part of our totality and very necessary. However, when they get out of balance, we got to rein them and rope them back in and go, okay, no, it's enough here. I don't need the crazy train up here, not my circus, not my monkeys. Let's bring it down. And I usually close my eyes and imagine like a raindrop or whatever drop rolling down, and I bring all that stuff to here. And then right away it melts like butter because this heart love based dissolves any of the fear that's being created up here. And it just reminded me of your swimmers too, because anytime we're feeling that, I don't feel good or this is crazy, we're in our own way. We talk about it all the time, and it's okay. It's part of our life. But we are offering resistance and we're creating fear. It's like treading in water when if we just laid on our back and floated down the stream, no problem. So that's the similar analogy from dropping out of I'm treading water up here and it's feeling really crazy. Come down to here in the peace and just float and have a good time on your little pink floaty.
Yeah,
That's it.
thank you. Josh, would you like to share? It's your turn.
Okay.
You don't have to.
Um, well, that is thing about the heart. You know, it does have that remarkable ability to kind of take all that noise out of the mind. And it's interesting because it makes me think that, you know, the fears and the more maybe like you can call it like dualistic thinking, or just like when things are kind of chaotic, those things kind of they can really only exist on maybe the periphery of our being in a way. They are very near to us because like we tend to focus our attention on them. And this is kind of something I learned from my own kind of meditation and my own spiritual path, as wild as it's been. Um, you know, like your attention is like a tool almost. Like you can kind of be aware that, you know, when a certain thought comes up in your mind, like your focus will just like latch onto it. And a lot of time when that happens, we just like jump into like a chaotic thought or something. We think like, oh, now I'm chaotic. But it's just more like it's just a biological kind of energetic kind of thing going on. So it's like your awareness of that is actually not in the scenario itself. So you realize you kind of you are your awareness of the of where your attention goes. Because, you know, I noticed like when I used to not meditate at all, really, I couldn't sit still. I'd always have to be doing something. And then when I started to realize, you know, meditation was actually something that came very naturally for me. It was just I was like following my attention too much because you have this like if a negative thought pops up in your head and you have a negative belief about yourself, if that thought is saying, you know, like you're no good or something, you're like, oh my God, what if it's true? You know? So you
Mhm.
focus right in on it. But then I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, "Look, I'm just fine the way I am, you know, like I don't need to like entertain this kind of thing. And then you realize like it really takes its energy from like the beliefs that you have about yourself. So when you kind of it's all about that like inner cleaning, that kind of inner alchemy. Because when you start doing that inner work, then it's like all these like fixations and potential, you know, hanger on kind of energies, like they don't really have anything to draw from anymore.
Mhm.
And you know, it's a really beautiful realization, because we can kind of think that the world is a particular way, even though it's like the way we perceive it, but we think the way that we perceive it is a product of the environment more than like just whatever thought we might be entertaining or however we're looking at it. Kind of like, you know, if you have a pair of glasses on and there's like scratches and dirt on your lens, you think that the world around you is scratched and dirty.
Right.
But it's like you just sort of forget that you're wearing a pair of glasses. So after a while, it's just kind of like I mean, it is a process, of course, because you know it. You learn you learn these kind of habits through repetition, so it takes repetition of good habits to kind of to soften those and heal them. But eventually, you know, you just take off. You can take the lens off and start to realize that not only it's just like being negative towards yourself and like trying to shame yourself. It's like you can't really shame yourself into growth, and that's kind of a misconception. I think like if I crack the whip and you know set a fire under my ass basically, then I'm going to be more productive and be a better person. But I think that it really kind of you know it just creates a lot of chaos and conflict in that person. And so you know when you look into yourself, you're like, well, you know, I need to like support myself, I need to encourage myself to grow, not to shame myself or like put myself down. And yeah, so that again is like that very, um, these may be things that seem very ordinary but that's kind of magic is something that happens inside of you as well. Like that alchemy is something that happens in the way that you think and the way you feel about yourself. Um, and yeah, that like just with that visualization that you gave Varley, that's really beautiful. Like you just let it melt down into the heart. You just let it drop down, and that's a power that we allow ourselves because we value ourselves. A lot of people don't want to believe in magic because maybe they feel that they don't deserve to believe in magic, or they don't, it's just not, it's
Right.
too, they have some idea about it, really. So but you can use those visualizations and you can tap into those feelings and bring that about at any time, which is actually, not only is it healing and therapeutic, but it's fun too. It's a
Hmm.
lot of fun, like the meditations that we do on Tuesdays. Those are really fun. I love like just seeing the imagery that comes to mind. Sometimes I'll have like some like ambient music in the background, and sometimes I'm like seeing pyramids and like crystal like diamonds and swirls, and like the last one we did was like waves of light, and we had like this web of golden light, back to that gold, that golden
Yeah, I
light.
forgot about that part.
Yeah, that was really cool. I could really feel that the wave of it. Like I was like, I
Mm.
feel expanding and warmth. It was beautiful. So, it's fun too. It's not just something we have to do. It's something we get to do.
Yeah.
So,
I'm really glad you
yeah.
brought this topic into the conversation, Josh, because, actually, I wrote down a short list of the main solutions for all of the difficulty we're all experiencing in our evolution and our expansion of our body. And the second thing on the list is meditation. And
Mhm.
meditate or be in silence to begin with, if that's something that, just like you, Josh, I was the same way. I didn't meditate. I teased. Sorry, y'all, but I teased people who did it. Like, I mean, I was that person. I really was. And then I didn't realize I was already kind of meditating, but it wasn't like it was an entry level of meditation that I was doing, because I was like gardening or sketching. I was drawing, I was doing something, driving, not with your eyes closed, just to be clear. This isn't you're paying attention to traffic kind of meditation. Many people who like to jump on the road, go for, road trips, short or small, understand what I'm talking about. And a variety of other things like that. But I didn't get what I get now until I started meditating on purpose. Like, this is what I'm doing. And the practice is the requirement for, and if you can talk to anybody, Spirit told me 21 minutes. Some people say it's 19, but there's a window of time that as soon as if you've done this within for 21 minutes, that's when you break away from the matrix and anything's possible. And that's when we recharge the most. Earthing is another one that's like on the top of of priority if you're looking to resolve and to assist yourself. Um, Also, water and minerals. Remembering your pink Himalayan salt, your gray Celtic salt. Like remembering that your body requires these minerals. And earthing is going out and sitting, standing on dirt or bringing dirt into the house and playing with it, like you also are clearing a lot of stuff out of your body when you're doing this on purpose. And so castor oil, a couple of drops on the belly button and rubbed around before you go to sleep will like draw all that stuff out. I know this is really funny. This is really funny. I know everybody knows all these spiritual people from the spiritual community, and I don't. I've not. I did this on me, and a lot of people in my family were doing the same thing. I didn't know other people were talking about this stuff. All these books and all these people that you guys know about. I've heard of the name Edgar Casey over and over again, but I've never read or any of his content. Like I guess he's like he was writing books like 100 years ago or something like that. I don't know exactly. But like what's crazy is he's saying all the same stuff that I've been talking to Spirit about all this time. So that's what I'm entertained by it. Because for me, it's validating. Because this is conversation, Spirit, my guides, everybody's been coming in and giving me guidance to do. And it turns out everybody else already knows this stuff. Like to me, it's new though. So anyway, and then the reason that I'm saying that is this conversation, I wrote this list down while I was having a conversation with somebody else and I was showing it to them and they said, oh, that's what Edgar Casey says. I'm like, well, good. You know, another part thing you can do is to assist yourself is an alkaline diet, remembering the fruit and the veg, the almonds, the acid that your body requires, you know, fasting, um, and mineral salt often is what re-inspires the digestive fluids that our body requires for the purging of what's not serving us. And then, you know, but above all things, you know, and then also, this isn't everyone's favorite point, but at least limiting your sugar content or intake as much as possible. The last thing though, this is one that people aren't realizing because right now we're taking off the masks. We've seen this, we've seen the reflections in the mirrors. We've seen these aspects of ourselves that aren't serving us, that we've been operating in some type of false anchoring kind of paradigm. And we're releasing these things. And when we do this, our manifestation becomes almost immediate. You know, so we need to think responsibly. How best can we think responsibly? Self-affirmations is one of those things you don't always want to hear, but yeah, that's part of it. Saying loving, kind words to yourself, things that you are or that you know that you can, that you're going to obtain. Even if you don't believe you can. I am powerful. I am mighty. We are many. We are strong. We are the light. I am joy. I am love. Like these are the things that I am. I know I am. And using the I am statements to assist yourself, as well as, and you've heard this before, you're not just consuming food and drinks. All of anything that you click, anything you click. I'm not just talking about the news, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that want to tell, I call it fear porn. You know, they're like, oh, this big thing is going to happen and hurry and buy a bunker today. You know, like with 12 easy payments of everything you own or whatever. But like, um, you know, and thinking you need some massive food storage. It's not a bad idea to have some food storage. You know, it's not a bad idea to have some extra water or whatever. But knowing that you're going to be manifesting any of these other programs of stories is my point, that it's playing in the background, these fear mongering things, will notice that we're manifesting them. And so
Yeah.
instead of being afraid of it, just avoid stop doing it. Right? Go
Mhm.
ahead, Layla.
Oh, yeah, I was just listening. Did you have something else to say?
Oh, it's your
Or
turn. I was
no?
just gonna I saw you pop on just in time, so
Oh, okay. I didn't want to interrupt, but yes, absolutely. I just love too that you mentioned the alkaline diet, or so-called, I didn't want to say diet, it's a lifestyle, really.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times we get so triggered hearing about, the eating ways and the ways we're supposed to be cleansing ourselves. But just remember, this is all part of self-love. Self-love is self-care. So when we really say that we love ourselves, we're actually doing things to keep ourselves pure, to like you said, the alkaline, like healthy acidity, but also alkalinity. Even the certain types of water, avoiding plastics, things like that. And just think of it, you don't have to do an overnight elimination of everything. Think of replacements, like even how you mentioned sugar. There's healthier sugars. Like I haven't used cane sugar or white sugar in years. I use agave. There's agave out there. There's so many beautiful alternatives, maple syrup. So I just want to tell the audience, look for alternatives, look for replacements. A lot of times we think we have to give up certain things that we love, like our favorite foods. Like I still love the pizzas, I still love the burgers, all of that. But you get to get creative, you get to have fun, you get to change it up.
Yeah.
So just think in terms of replacement rather than elimination.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big one for a lot of us. So that way you're not feeling like you're missing out on something, because a lot of us have those food cravings or food addictions. But once you replace them, and like you said, you get that mineral content and that nutritional content, a lot of us are not, we're craving things because we're just nutritionally deficient. That's
Right.
why we're not really nourished. Once we actually get those nutrients in, you'll see those cravings diminish a lot, as well as
Right.
the parasites being cleansed out. Absolutely.
Layla, while I got you here, there's a question in the audience that I feel like would go for you. You'll be able,
Sure.
you mind?
Uh,
Okay, so
you
it's
know me. I'll do whatever. It's all
okay.
good.
Smoke Carrot 7 says, "Hello, how to manifest fertility?"
Oh, okay. It's so funny that you and you must have intuitively like knew that I manifested fertility.
Hmm.
I will say this. Of course, what we just talked about, cleansing the body, cleansing your womb space. If you're talking about, a woman being fertile, cleanse your womb. If you can do yoni steams, as a woman, yoni steaming is really, really helpful. You can buy that on Amazon or even find a yoni practitioner in your area if available, and you get herbs and you steam the yoni, you pray over your yoni. And what actually helped me become fertile, because my partner at the time, his sperm was just not well because he just wasn't taking care of himself. But what
Yeah,
I did was I did research, and I looked more into herbal supplementation. Maca is excellent for becoming more fertile, also nourishing the sperm, even nourishing the eggs of the woman, cleansing. Maca is excellent because he tried to get me pregnant. I mean, not to say it like that, but it's true. But he tried to get me pregnant for years, and it was not working. But once I did research and took the maca, we both took the maca, we put it in smoothies, then I got pregnant.
yeah,
So I would say the womb cleansing as well as the maca is really, really good. And just womb toning herbs such as raspberry leaf tea, senna. There's a lot of different herbs that are really, really good for the womb. And I also love what you mentioned too about the water. I've been really called lately to work with the energy of water, because when we're looking at the womb, when we're carrying a baby, we're working with water, right? So
yeah,
activating your water, putting the water in a blue cobalt bottle, preferably if you can, or any glass bottle. Charging the water with your words, charging the water with your frequency, and yeah, ingesting that water as part of your womb healing practices. I mean, there's a plethora of ways you can work with your womb, but those are the ones that stick out: herbalism and yoni steaming, as well as working with the magic of water
yeah.
as well.
Great answer. I was gonna add something more to it, and then I'll see if someone else might have something to add to it too.
Yeah,
Thank you so
please.
much. Is that um also the womb healing is the womb to the womb to the womb. Your original room is your mother's womb, and
Mhm.
your womb was your womb when you were in your mother's womb, who was in your grandma's womb. All right, so that's a lot of rooms and a lot of cleaning, so like this kind of um meditation practice is you'll notice all your chakras, and then the space in between your sacral and your solar plexus, your belly button, it's actually like a portal, and it kind of looks like y'all are sitting like this, like spooning. Like, because you go through the tunnel of your own womb, whether you're a dude or a chick. It works both ways. It doesn't matter what gender you are, because you do have a womb. You have an energetic womb if you're a guy or a girl. And going through that belly button to you and your womb, through your womb into your mother's womb, into her mother's womb, and so on. a lot of times we don't realize it, but a lot of what's hanging on to our fertility issues and stuff is to do with ancestral cleansing of the womb space. As crazy as it sounds, this works for men and for women. So that's my 12 cents to add to that.
I I love it. Thank you for saying that. That's so on point. Absolutely.
Thank you. Does anybody want to add anything more to that particular question? Because we have another thing to bring up in the audience. No? Thank you so much for the answers. Because we're starting to wrap this up, so I figured we might address a couple of questions. Well, I guess this is just this is a comment, but Genevieve says it's totally possible to have healthy, delicious pizza and burgers. It's about ingredients, homemade bread, fresh burger patties, etc. And I'm going to say this is that there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that I know that have been vegetarians or vegans or, like fruitarians and all kinds of different stuff that have been starting to notice that they're desiring meat and they're choosing to eat meat. And there's no shame there about that, okay? Like, but having said that, there is ways about doing that. There's ways of I'm not just talking about meat, but just the food that you want to eat. The stuff that's made out there for processed, pre-made foods, I'm finding personally, I don't know what all they got in there, but it doesn't feel like food. It's not like it's like stuff you get from your cleaning supply cabinet, you know?
Yeah.
And so there's ways around it, and would anyone like to share their practices about that and like maybe how I guess Varleigh is kind of
Yeah.
next up and then we'll go back to Layla says yeah too. So Varleigh first.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Perfect.
can make this one pretty quick. I also want to bring up that just because we're in this spiritual community or spiritual practice, any kind of practice, it's funny the name practice behind it, because yeah, we're practicing, we're making up stuff as we go, we're tapping into stuff that we remember on a soul level that's emerging now, and then it'll be like second nature. And there are a lot of younger folk, I guess it doesn't matter the age on earth years. A lot of people have this beautiful way. They've got their own alchemy going that you can give them the most atomic, carcinogenic burger there is on the planet or food product, but they just down it and they alchemize it poof instantly, so there's certain people that can do that, so hats off to them. That's not me in my journey right now, but there are those that can just like purifying it. It's like they're a walking filter. Just throw whatever in there and it's going to be instantly neutralized. But it's also where they're at, how they've come in, how close and connected to the source they are, because if we think about it, any matter, when we say that matters, that doesn't matter, it's matter. And 3D, like this plate ain't coming with me to wherever we're going, didn't come with me in here. So at a certain point, it is all illusion, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. However, common practice, though, let's get to nuts and bolts, what I do, because I can't control, even if I go to an organic food market, farmer's market, that grows something in my own yard, I can't control what's falling through the ethers, other than I can envision my entire wherever I am and the land that's around me as purified. Like I just put it out there that there's I push out a beautiful energy that anything coming and interacting is already purified. However, anything I go to put in my mouth, I look at it and I wave my hand like my hand is my wand, and I go over the thing, love, blessed, and protected. I go over my belly area, love, blessed, and protected. And then I go like this, almost like I don't make a figure eight, but you can do whatever feels good for you. But I go back and forth like this with my hands, saying, we are now compatible. We are at the same frequency. It doesn't matter if I'm high or low in that frequency, but we match. And then I lift the whole thing up at the frequency up. So I say, love, blessed, and protected to the thing, love, blessed, and protected to me. We are one, we are harmonious, and I lift it all up. And I literally just do that. I go, we lift it up. Now, if you're cooking, you got meat. Yes, a lot of us on this spiritual journey are going to require protein because the body, there's nuts and bolts to it. If we're still in the matter, it matters that we have protein for an extra boost because we are processing so much, not just in our day to day, because we might be lethargic and dead to the wind and everything else. That was me this morning. I'm like, I feel like crap.
I hear
But
you.
we have other times we might have a spurt of energy, or we're having the energy on the astral, people. We all know it. we're doing whatever heavy lifting in the spiritual realm. So we're using energy even in that, sector more than likely. So we feel drained just because of that. Like we're not even consciously aware, soul knows. So yes, don't be surprised if it's like, why am I reaching for this? Now, for the animal part, yes, we're sensitive to it. The alchemy of going love, blessed, and protected, raising the frequency. I also envision anyone who is handled, delivered on a truck, touched in a processing plant, out in the field, the bee that was attached to the flower the cow was about to eat. Everybody, all of us are blessed because we really are all one. I love that blade of grass as much as I love that cow, as myself. And
Yeah.
the thing is, for me, even cutting down a lettuce, head of lettuce, that's sentient. To me, all plants are sentient, so just as much as an animal. So at the end of the day, unless we're a breatharian, okay, just breathing air and soaking in light, which we'll get there eventually, we're going to touch something we don't want to harm, right? So when I say love, bless, and protect all of us, it's like I'm looking at the thing and I'm saying I salute the divinity in you thing as much as I salute the divinity in me. And we have this recognition and understanding that we're in this physical world, all of us playing our role. And it's okay as long as our base intention is coming from love and honor and love you. And it to me, it's all good. And we do what our body wants. Listen to your body knows. If you only want
Yeah.
to fast that day, you fast. Not consciously, but hey, like you said, Mila, I've done it too. When did I last eat? It was like 3 days ago. Or why am I only hitting the junk snack thing today? That's not right. That's not me. But yes, it is. If the body wants it, do it. But, responsibly, if your body's like, really don't go for that pizza sauce, okay, maybe don't. Or if you do, you're going in anyway, then love, bless, and protect it. It's love, bless, and protect it. So am I. We are, equal, raise it all up. And then usually there's less indigestion, less heartburn when you do that. But it takes just remembering to do it. And once you start like cooking your whatever, as you stir, that's alchemy, that's magic. Each
Right.
time you go around in a circle, especially,
The
something
witch's
very magical
cauldron.
about the circle, right? Can also become a meditation. But each time you go around, you are infusing that thing with love. And like I was saying, going from the head to the heart, you're instantly melting that all into love, and it's okay. No guilt or shame, no food shaming. Like, oh, I shouldn't have this, or why aren't you a vegetarian? Well, why am I not? I'm listening to my body. And if my body says, go for that, I can't think of a fruit, zucchini, I do it. If it's like, go for that, whatever, that's at the opposite spectrum, I do it if the body says so. So it's getting into that quiet. What do you want, body? Right? And my body will, and I'll know if it's the head saying, go for that donut. That's not the body saying, go for the donut. Or
Right.
maybe the heart says, go for the donut. It brings joy. Then I'm going for that donut. No regrets, you know? And then eventually balance it out. Maybe get back to that fasting state, doing the salt, doing, a little bit, get the minerals back in. But again, it's all about at a certain point going with the flow. But knowing if we have the power and the alchemy, the magic to bless, to alchemize anything, anything. Like they put toxins in this drink that I'm not even aware of. If they pesticided the field or whatever, love, blessed, and protected. I love you, water. Boom, we're good. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Am I
Uh,
able to go now?
Yeah.
Did you have
yeah,
something to say, Mela?
I'm waiting on you guys. Because
Oh,
I
okay.
always have a million things to say, but
Oh,
go
yeah, me
ahead.
too. Me
Go.
too. Just wanted to keep the flow beautiful. Yes, just pay attention too. Also, when you're talking about listening to the body, be discerning whether it's the parasites talking, it could be the chemical addiction talking, it can also be the implants talking. What a lot of us are not really familiar with, we may think things are our body speaking to us, but we're not realizing how many different parasitical forms are attached to us. Not
Right.
only the parasites that are in the gut, there's also parasites in the brain, but also that chemical addiction because we do have a lack of nutrients. So, what I will also say is that yes, we do have the ability to neutralize, but beyond neutralizing, when you actually eat real food, you are activating. You are eating ascension foods. You are connecting to your oversoul. So that is the goal. And that is why food has been placed here on earth. Whether you're plant based, which me, I'm plant based, or whether you eat meat, it doesn't matter. Eat the best of the best as much as you can, so that way you can activate, and that way you can braid to your oversoul. And so when we talk about listening to the body, we have to make sure we're filtering what we're listening to,
Yeah, I'm
what we're
talking about the
actually
pure
tuning
body,
into.
but excellent,
Yes,
excellent point. Very true, because there's a lot in there talking that ain't us. But very true. But I'm talking
absolutely.
about once you know your body and it's the higher intention form of it, then absolutely. But excellent you brought that up because there's a lot.
Abs- Absolutely, because there's a lot that goes into it. And a lot of times when we think we're, even when it comes to intuition, a lot of times we use that interchangeably, but with thoughts that are coming up, oh, and we're overthinking. It's really important that we have discernment with self, and to take what resonates and leave the rest. But that's why the purification is so important, because then we can actually get very, very clear on what is actually for us and what's also a mimic, what's mimicking what we think, keyword think, or what we feel is for us. So really tune into self. And I would say the first step is to purify yourself. Then you'll really be able to get crystal clear with what your body is asking for. And then we move beyond neutralization. We move beyond that. We're now tapping into the higher ascended realms of activation and ascension and oversoul connection. We want to braid to the oversoul, and beyond the oversoul, our Rishi avatar. There's levels to this. So, and it's all beautiful. It's all
Yeah.
connected. Bless your food, pray over your food. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you choose to be plant-based like me, or if you choose to eat animals. Also, protein is very heavily in plants, as well as herbs and vegetables and fruits. Trust me, I actually have too much protein. last
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
last time I went to the doctor, they said all of my vitamins, nope. Actually, even my iron is excellent. So we gotta just educate ourselves and continue to do the best that we can. So I love what Varleigh said too. Pray over your food, always bless it, alchemize it, but then purify yourself as well, because then you'll really be able to see the magic. And then you'll notice that you actually aren't having a craving for any of these so-called lower. We want to get past that, even having to alchemize anything lower vibrational.
Right.
One thing I'm realizing is that when we get into the golden age and the golden age frequencies, it's all going to be pure. The
Right.
food is going to be alchemizing us.
Right. That's what it was designed to do to begin with.
Absolutely.
Like this hijacking kind of thing, whatever it was that happened recently, like the past 50 years or so, is really when it really happened. I mean, it actually, if you look at it, it was 1984 that they did the whole land change thing, and it turned into all this GMO, corn, wheat, and soy became the market, and pre-made meals were once a luxurious thing, is became a cheaper option and all that kind of stuff. That's changing. There's a point that was made in the audience. Leona K says, good to do a parasite detox. And that's a really valid point that I know that all of us were thinking here. And I don't know if we said it out loud or not, but remember that we in fact, in America, they only just stopped over the past about 50 years suggesting that you deworm your child every 6 months. When
Mhm.
every other, most countries still do it, by the way. And they're not just their children, but they're just saying it's more regular for kiddos because they're digging in the stuff, they're out there and doing the thing. And it's good that they're playing in it because that's where you get your immune system from, you know. But at the same time, we're going to end up getting parasites. And so what do we do? Detoxing. One of the
That's
things that
right.
I do regularly is I have cloves in a jar of water in the fridge. People will put them in the window. I don't really have any window spots left. It's all plants now, but um it's and then I'll sit on the counter after it's been there long enough and it's gotten into the dark. You only need like a little sip of that every day. I mean, I'm making quantity to last me. You know what I mean? And just throw some more water in there and a couple more cloves after a while, and that right there, that practice has changed my life, including other things as well. Wormwood. A lot of people can't do walnuts. They got like nut allergies and stuff, but black walnut's good too. The husk of the black walnut. Though remember, if you're doing that, you only want a little bit. I've heard of I know a few people who did way more than they meant to, and if their vital organs started to freak out a little bit, you know, so you don't need that much. Do your research, please, before just jumping in. You know, we're all like, hey, let's make the
Yes.
strongest tincture possible. Your body's not used to that, you know? So be gentle with yourself. Is that,
Yes.
yeah. You
Trial
know,
and error for sure.
and the last thing I'm going to say about that, and this because it goes along with what you guys are already talking about, this just came. It was really fun. It was a conversation I was having with Spirit, and they said, I didn't even think about salt, but salt, sugar, and oil are the things that are addiction cravings,
Hmm.
right? You don't really think about it because salt is actually really important, the mineral salt and all this stuff that, you know, and so if it's sugar, if it's salt or oil that you're craving, then it's 99% most likely anyway that it's really not you. It's your parasites talking to you and telling you to eat that. You know,
Right.
do
Hmm.
I bend to it? Christmas just happened. We had chocolate around here and I ate some. And I'm
Right.
going to tell you right now that I'm also still paying for it. I feel so gross right now. Like my body's working overtime, and all of a sudden now I'm fasting. My body's like, no, we don't want food anymore. You just,
Yep.
you know, so
Yep. That's so true. That's why I say replacement as much as possible because I too want the sugars. Sometimes I too want the burgers. But one
right.
thing I realize is that I can still have all of that, just like the beautiful person in the audience said. And I can do it by replacing those ingredients with healthier versions where I still get that flavor profile, where I still get the texture profile, and I
Yeah.
still get that satiating feeling. A lot of it's psychological too. Like even going back to sugar, a lot of the sugar cravings come from broken hearts, come from not loving ourselves. That's why sugar is so connected with like the energies of love. When people, you
Valentine's
think
Day.
sweets, yeah, sweets. That's why they say the sweets. A lot of times people are craving those sweets because there is some type of connection between not truly loving ourselves on some level, even if we think we love ourselves, right?
Right.
So it's really important to even look at the metaphysical connection between these cravings as well. There's so many layers to it.
And there's also psychological color therapy involved with that because, like Valentine's Day, pink, yes, for the high
Right.
frequency. But why
Yeah,
red? Because red is the opposite end of the chakras. So the red is like the root and the base. Sure, you could say, well, that's the passion and the whatever, but it's also what incites hunger. You know, it's
yeah,
used in the Italian restaurants, the red and white checkered tablecloths are because red brings up hunger, you know, gets you anticipating to eat, stuff like
yeah.
that.
Right. It's
It
true.
senses urgency as well. Red. Yeah.
That's why you see all these fast food chains have the red
Hmm.
checkers are everywhere on all of these different places,
Yep.
you know?
Fast food,
Yep.
urgency. Yep.
Yeah, you could just name off. I'm thinking of like just going down the main strip. You have five main ones right away that are all
Yep.
red, you know, like pizza joints and chicken joints and burger joints. They're all red. You know, in
Yeah.
fact, the symbolism behind the colors of Santa Claus, a lot of people have connected it with peyote and a variety of different things, but it was Coca-Cola who actually started the red color of Santa's costume for their own marketing scheme. You know, and the reason they're red, the reason that that company is red for is for the same purpose. I don't mean to throw a name out there, but it's a thing, you know, and so being aware of these undertones, these signals that are being delivered to you when you're not maybe aware of them, gives you awareness, and so you can make a decision. You know, and I didn't intend for us to go on for as long as we did, but this was so freaking fun that I mean, this 2 hours has just flown by.
Yeah,
Well,
I had a great time. This was wonderful.
yeah. We should probably wrap it up, though. You know, just in parting, I do want to add something because everything in life is better when you can laugh. and celebrate and know that it's not a job. These things that we're talking about, we figure it out as we go. And like the chocolate thing for me, I'm paying for it today, so I'm not probably going to engage in it tomorrow as quickly, but we're going to do things, and just learn. You also know how to detox and purge yourself. And remember, there's an awesome Dr. Demento. Remember Dr. Demento? The junk food junkie. Look it up. It's the funniest. I love those types of songs. Speaking of humor, the junk food junkie, he would um he wore an unbleached cotton fiber shirt and ate plain yogurt out of a hand-thrown pottery jar. But then when it was midnight, he'd roll on downstairs and open up a safe and pull out some stuff.
That took I was laughing.
Yeah.
Exciting. It's true. So true.
I used to love listening to Dr. in the morning on the way to work when I was in Washington. But I guess I was on the way to school. Wow, that was a long time ago. Anyway, um, thank you, all of you. This has been such an enjoyable conversation, and everybody in the audience. I've been reading your comments because we went live on Zoom instead of through my Restream platform. I wasn't able to include your comments on the screen, though. I've been reading, and anytime that you've said something to somebody directly, I've highlighted it for them. So. Um, thank you, all of you, for being here in this great show, and happy
Yes.
Boxing Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, audience, as well. I love it. I love hearing everybody's inputs and how everybody's like on the same wavelength. Like we're all understanding each other. So I really appreciate that. Thank you,
Right.
Varleigh, and thank you, Josh. Is Josh still here?
Yep.
Thank you, Josh.
Yep,
Okay. Okay.
I came back.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will I'll see y'all live on Sunday for our regular show, and then on this coming Wednesday, it's Jeanette from Down Under. So I look forward to seeing you all there, and um, have a warm, safe, blessed day. I know that a lot of energies are kind of out in the stream right now, and Ascension symptoms are kind of through the roof. So just hang in there and know that you're not alone. I'm sending you all so much love.